What's going on, people? Welcome to my presence. Congratulations. You've made it here. I'm not going to do a live stream tonight with shades on, not the whole time. My shades is kind of foggy right now. Hopefully folks can hear me. But I'm just vibing right now, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to say, what is too much P.D.A.? By P.D.A. I mean public displays of affection. What's too much? Should you slob somebody down? Should you be all over them? How much P.D.A. is really too much? Should you be physically groping somebody? This is not a serious live stream. This is just me vibing, relaxing. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, how much is too much? Should you get a light peck on the cheek? Should it be a strong caress? How much P.D.A. is too much? I know this might be too steamy for a late night live stream on a Sunday night. It's okay though. I'm just thinking about all the beautiful women out there, you know, that might want to show me public displays of affection. I know who you are. Mel Mel loves you too. You know? I'm just trying to relate to you. You know? Just asking the question. How much is too much? I don't know. I don't know. Let's reflect. Let me stop trying to be too cool. But seriously, I don't know. I was just thinking to myself, you know, when you out there in the streets and you with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, some other person, you know, when is it crossing the line? When are you like really overdoing it? Sometimes you see people in the street and they just thirsty, you know, all over each other. Maybe that's a sign of love. Maybe it's a sign of insecurity. I don't know. What do you think? Well, maybe most of you are sleeping right now, so it's all good. Ever says, oh, love. Yeah, it could be love, you know, when you have public displays of affection, you know. But when does it become insecurity? You know? I think people should be given this space. It's a great feeling. Yes, it is a great feeling to, you know, share public displays of affection. But I wonder, you know, when is it going too far? You know, when is it just being thirsty, just being overprotective? I don't have the answer to that. You know, I guess I'm grateful when I get public displays of affection myself too. You know, I'm a beautiful man. I am. I am. Maybe it's not appreciated enough, but I appreciate those that love me. And yes, Mel Mel loves you back. You know, I think there should be more love in the world. You know, maybe we need more public displays of affection. You know, people are too hateful towards each other. There's too many public displays of hate. But I was just thinking to myself, I said, when is too much, too much? Yeah, I'm in the loving mood, you know. I just want to spread love. I just want to spread love to those that love me, you know what I'm saying? Because I love you, you know what I'm saying? For loving me back, you know. I try not to be so smooth, you know, but it is a late night hour. And I am smoother than the other side of the pillow. Maybe some people watching this back and say he's full of himself. Yes, I am right now. I am beautiful. And so are you. Whoever you are. You know? I'm not saying have public displays of affection towards yourself. But love yourself. Just don't overdo it. You know? Get your peck on the cheek. Get your smooch on the lips. Be yourself. but don't overdo it. Save some for later. Like if I got a cup, let's say I got a cup of water, and this water is representing love or affection. I ain't got to drink the whole cup. I could drink some of the cup. I ain't got to be overly thirsty. I could save some for later. Put it in the refrigerator. Let it get cool for a hot day. Like a glass of lemonade with the right amount of sugar in it. You know? Then we could love each other, express ourselves between each other. I know this is probably too smooth, too deep for some of you, like the ocean. But for those people who relate, you know where I'm coming from. No, I'm not crazy. Sometimes we need public displays of affection, public displays of love. You know? Like I said, there's too many displays of hate, of negativity. You know? But I wonder, how much is too much? Should there be like a timeout? Should there be like a 2-minute warning? A 5-second rule? I don't know. You tell me. I may sound crazy. I may be half-heartedly joking. But how much is too much? I feel so smooth right now. I wish I had a glass of lemonade or a cup of some tea or something right now. I don't know. Somebody out there tell me how much is too much. Can you tell me how much is too much? When is public displays of affection going too far? Do you know? Can you tell? Is it when somebody is smothering you like a sheep? All over you like a cheap suit? How much is too much? When is it smothering? When is it suffocating? I love public displays of affection. Sometimes I look and I say, wow, they're getting their love on. I wish that was me. I don't know. But yeah. I guess it's good to be in love, you know? Have you ever been in love? Look at me on here, Mel, the romantic. I just feel like in one of those moods tonight, you know? No special reason, you know? I guess people just express themselves. Maybe somebody answer me later on, but I know you out there, whoever you are. If there's a heart in the house tonight, stand up. Yeah, but seriously, you know, I just like to be smooth, you know what I'm saying? VSOP, very smooth on pour, you know? With the sophistication. I think it's too much public displays of affection when you're aggressive or intrusive on your lover or a significant other. Sometimes you need to give people space and wait for the right moment. Put on some nice smooth music, you know, put some air freshener in the air. Maybe cook a meal, you know what I'm saying? Find out how the day was going. Rub their feet, rub their back. Go to the store. Sometimes you might even have to buy some tampons or some diapers or something. Set the mood right. You know, take a shower. Get yourself presentable. You know, ask permission. Ask permission sometimes. Sometimes we're in relationships and you see the woman or the man and you figure, I've been with this person. So I could just jump on them like a cheap suit or like white on rice. And that ain't right. Sometimes people need their space. Sometimes they need to allow you to be invited in to that mood. I see too many people not setting the right mood. Jumping all over your people like a alley cat in heat. And that's cool. I ain't gonna lie. There's a cause for that at times, for those particular moments that we're not gonna get into in this live stream. When you're in heat, when you're in intense love, like, woo! But anyway, I don't know. I think a certain mood should be set. And this is just my opinion. Like I said, I could be wrong. But I think if you're going to have public displays of affection, some things you should do in public. Some things should be private. Because P.D.A. could also mean private displays of affection. But for this conversation, I say public. I think it's too much when you are doing things that maybe reserved for private times. Not everybody's eyes to see. The privacy of your own home, your own bedroom, away from the children, prying eyes, you know, even the surveillance of those folks you may not want to see. I wonder, do you know how to set the mood? Do you know how to make things right? Me, I'm a lover, not a fighter. Yo, what's up, Yas Poet? I'm getting my chill out on. I am. I'm just asking the question, when is P.D.A. too much? When is it too much to have a public display of affection? Is it when you're just all over a person? I used to have that issue myself. You're just so excited. You just want to be all over that person all the time. But you learn, you mature, and you learn that there's a certain mood that you got to set. Just because you're with somebody doesn't mean you smack them on the behind or grope them on whatever body part that's there. So maybe folks don't want to hear about this, but I feel like talking about this. Public displays of affection. I feel like respect your lover's space. Be it you're gay, you're straight, you're black, you're white, religious, whoever you are. Learn to respect person's personal boundaries and stuff like that. Get to know your lover. Get to know your people. Don't just assume because you're in a relationship with them that it's all good. People be with each other for years and not ask, do you like to be touched this way? Do you like the way I smell at a certain time? Would you like a certain, music played? These are things you should know, I guess for the private moments too. Especially when you're out in public. I see people all the time. I seen this one guy who was out in public with his woman. I don't know if she's his wife, girlfriend, or whatever, and the kid. And this man is standing there touching on his woman's face, grabbing her and pinching her and stuff like that. And she's looking at him like, what are you doing? That's something you do with the child. And I say, men, don't be there pinching on your woman's face and grabbing her like she's some child. Respect that woman. Say that for other times. Ask her if it's okay. You want to get your woman's attention, you tell her, hey, baby, turn around. And she goes, whew. Blow in the air or whisper something. Save it for a private moment. But you out in public, man. Treat your people with respect. Same goes vice versa, to the woman and the man. Don't smack the hit man upside the head. Don't slap box with him in the street. This ain't no bar fight. Understand people's personal boundaries. Don't assume just because you're with somebody and you all over them and they all over you that everything is good from one moment to the next. Get consent. Find out what people like. Ask the question. Get to know your people. Love the one you with. I know. Love the one you with. Or be with the one you love. Yeah, be with the one you love. But that's another story. Maybe the same. I think it is something where you get to know, people's personal boundaries. And you just find out, just asking simple questions. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just find out. Especially us men. Sometimes us men, we're a little too thirsty. We get a little too excited. If you're with the woman, right? You're with her. If you're going home with her, you're going home with her, Yeah, you could tell the people who understand personal boundaries and know they're secure with their relationship by the way they are, I guess, in public. Yeah, you have your moments. You kiss, you embrace. But if it gets to a point where it's like you're having sex on the train station platform or sex out in the street, some people may want to see it. But is it really for all of us? I mean, if you're trying to give a private show, then, hey, there's people that pay for that. There's people that definitely pay for that. But me, I just like to be smooth. I get sometimes I'm male. Sometimes they want me, and I want you back. Not everybody. I'm not for every woman. I'm not trying to jump around. I know the ladies love Mel, and Mel loves the ladies. But I can only be with one at a time. But this ain't about me. This is about you. Public displays of affection. How much is too much? Don't be afraid. I know you may not want to answer right now. A couple of shy people out there. You know, maybe you have an answer. But you tell me how much is too much. Is it too much when they're groping you up and down in front of the kids? Is it too much when you're sitting across from your relatives or your mother-in-law, your sister-in-law, brother-in-law? When is it too much? Is it too much on a job interview? Matter of fact, if you with your significant other on a job interview, you might have some questions to ask. What you doing here kissing on me while I'm trying to get another job? You know? Yeah, man. I think respect people's personal space. Maybe this is a concept foreign to some, but I think your lover or significant other will thank you for it when you respect their space. You ain't all in their face, breathing all hard on them. And some folks out there, brush your teeth, man. And women. Nothing's worse when you don't use mouthwash and you all up in mine, breathing that dragon breath on me. But sometimes, you know what? Sometimes you got to take one for the team. That's why I pull out a toothbrush. Let me stop. Let me stop. Somebody gonna come and give me. Oh my goodness. I'm just having fun tonight, though. But there's truth in what I'm saying. Respect your significant others or side piece, whoever you have. I don't know. Don't be jumping on people. If a person says they don't want to be bothered, they don't want to be touched tonight, you keep it moving. Respect your lover. And hopefully they respect you. Know the boundaries that people set. Don't play yourself. Relay yourself to the other. One to another. It's about peace and love. And respecting the space. What's up, Eagle VP? Thanks for coming into this live stream. I appreciate it. I'm just talking about how much affection is too much. How much is too much public displays of affection? Is it too much when you're just all over a person? In public, in front of the kids, in front of your mother-in-law, at a job interview? When it's too much, too much? Is it too much when a woman has that time of month? Or she's sick? Especially if a person is sick, give them their space. Sometimes people have too much public displays of affection as a way of control. Shouldn't be that way, but it's crazy. I don't know. But I guess when you watch this back, maybe folks will think about how much is too much as it pertains to public displays of affection. Oh, wow. Eagle VP says people don't show enough affection. Yeah, sometimes that is the case. That is definitely the case. I guess we could talk about that as well. Yeah, you do definitely have people who just maybe are stiff, who don't want to, express themselves in certain ways. Definitely. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe it's not enough affection. Maybe anybody could tell me When is it not enough affection? Eagle VP brings up a great question. Maybe your lover or your significant other, your wife, or whoever you deal with, maybe they just need a kiss on the cheek. Maybe they need a hug or an embrace. I could definitely see that. Maybe sometimes people are just not affectionate enough. That's an interesting point, Eagle VP. You know? Yeah. People definitely have a lack of love, you know, a lack of concern for each other at times. Maybe what I'm talking about when it comes to public displays of affection is lust, you know, because I know when it comes time for, sexual intercourse or whatever the case may be, people could definitely show, that side. But yeah, maybe that is the issue. Not showing enough affection, you know. I mean, if anybody out there, what are some of the things you think people can do to show more affection, or to show enough affection, you know? Because sometimes, I guess when it comes to affection, just holding somebody's hand down the street, that can definitely be considered affection, or embracing somebody. Eagle VP says it's all about MEIS nowadays. What? Mess. Okay. Maybe I'm lost. Maybe I'm out the loop with that one. Well, I think people should just first learn what affection is. Sometimes we can confuse affection with lust. Maybe I had the wrong title. You know, when it's too much public displays of lust, too much. I don't know, but learning to be affectionate, learning to just spend time with folks and understand and respect people's personal boundaries and knowing when it matters. I think people don't have enough conversations about it. I definitely tell you that much. Whether they're showing too much, whether they're not showing enough. Definitely some conversations need to be had. And I think there's, not enough of that happening or going on. You know. But definitely you bring up an interesting point with that, Keith. You know. Just public displays of affection in general. You know. I say to anybody out there, what does affection mean to you? What's this conversation? Evening, my friend, I come and overheard and hang out. Yeah, affection, caring about each other. Yeah, definitely. Well, Floyd, we're just talking about affection, what affection is. Hey, just us. I'm just talking about public displays of affection. When is it too much? When is it not enough? What is affection to you? Do you know? Do you have any answers? Do you have any thoughts, comments, or criticisms about that particular situation? You know, I believe affection is a type of concern that you have with the person, be it physical, be it emotional. Well, I like to believe it's okay to be an American, not to get beat up for the love of my flag. That's interesting. That's a different type of affection. So you have an affection for your flag. You have an affection for, country. Nothing wrong with that. Don't get overzealous about it, but yeah, definitely. A certain type of nationalism, doesn't go too far. It's definitely not the affection I was referring to, but definitely an affection that's out there, you know. But my thing is, I mean, what is affection to you? Anybody else out there? You know, K-Dog, what's up, K-Dog? What's going on? We're just talking about different types of affection. When is public displays of affection too much? When is it not enough? What is affection to you? You know, what are the proper ways that you think you should display affection? Sometimes people think that, you should send roses or you should hold hands or just sit down and listen to a person. Um, Floyd says, our country, we're trying to spread unity and peace and love through patriot prayer. Interesting. I don't have a problem with public displays of affection, but when people are getting too sexual in front of the kids, young minds, I have a problem with it. Yeah, I definitely do too. I definitely do too. My thing is, if you're in front of kids or you in front of your kids, you want to be careful not to send the wrong message that, you're about to get your love and your sex on. Of course, you want your kids to know where babies come from and all that stuff, but you don't want to actually give a live representation, unless that's how you living. But then that'll cause other psychological issues and emotional issues, but not around the kids. I agree with that one. You're around the kids, or you tell the kids, you go in there, play Xbox or something or PlayStation. You take your behind in in the room. Me and mommy got to talk right quick. The voice says, yes, sir. Yeah, but if other than that, I believe that public displays of affection are cool. Kayla says, heck yeah, I sometimes forget how to do that. What is appreciated is appropriate. Yeah, I mean we forget sometimes. I mean, I'm not trying to be politically correct with it. I'm not trying to tell folks you can't get your love on. Sometimes you with your woman, you with your person or whoever you deal with, significant other, your man, and you just in that moment, you know. Where you from, young man? I'm in California. Well, I'm from Brooklyn. I spread love the Brooklyn way. You know, it's a lot of love in Brooklyn. It's a lot of love out here. You know, we love each other. We have issues with each other too, but no more than any other place in the world. You know, Brooklyn's a place to be. You ever get a chance, come out to Brooklyn. Brooklyn, NY, from the Red Hook section. You already know. But yeah, you know, I think people need to learn what affection is, man. You know, learn when too much is too much. Learn when enough is not enough. Kissing is fine. Hand holding is fine. My grandmother still sticks. My grandpa still sticks with my grandpa. Oh, let me see that. My grandpa still smacks with my grandma, but in public, it is what it is. At 80 years old. Yeah, nah. Ain't nothing wrong with getting your kiss on. Ain't nothing wrong with getting your love on. Do what you do. But at the same time, be mindful. I say be mindful. But sometimes, you know what? You're in that moment and you just can't help it. You just got to express yourself. You just got to let it go. It says Evansville, Indiana. Part of the movie League of Their Own was filmed out here, and Roseanne House is here. That's what's up. Not smacking, but pats her butt. Oh, wow. Okay. You said he still pats her butt in public. Oh, sorry to hear, but they're 80. Well, I mean, you know, you could get away with a lot of different stuff when you're 80 years old. If you see an 80-year-old patting another 80-year-old on the butt, I don't know what to say about that. What's going on, Miss Agenda Man? Hello to you. I'm just talking about public displays of affection. When is too much too much? When is it not enough? Maybe it's a situation where people just don't know what it is. Peace, my friend. Take care, Floyd. Thanks for joining the conversation for however long you could be with us and join us and just, chill out. Like I said, I'm not trying to have a deep conversation about nothing. Just talking about public displays of affection. What do you think is too much? What do you think is not enough? At 80, that may be the last touch, period. You're right. You do it a little in public. Let's be real. The reality is, take care, Keith. Take care to you. The reality is, we've all, most of us have done public displays of affection. At some point, there's nothing wrong with it. There's definitely nothing wrong with it. But the question is, I guess, when it's too much, and you find yourself, in situations where folks get a little carried away. There's times where I've gotten a little carried away, not many times. I know I won't sit in front of my mother and tongue somebody down. I'm sitting in front of my mother and I'm tonguing somebody down. Woo. But like I said, if you are somebody, who's showing the right amounts of public affection or displays of it, then kudos to you. I'm sitting here, maybe it's an arbitrary thing. Who really knows what the right amount is? Who really knows? But I think it's about communication. I think it's about understanding, a willingness to listen. You know, there's a lot of love being shown in this live stream right now. I appreciate you folks for being here, just listening to me vibe right now. You know, who knows? I may go for a little bit longer. I'm just feeling it. Maybe it's something about this live stream, the 4 thumbs up that I got, the 4 people watching that I see. You know, best ever. Okay, you talking to Michigan? Okay, it's all good. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe it's not enough affection in the world. Okay, yeah, yeah. Oh, Justice says me and my husband kiss in public, but not too heavy. We hold hands, but he holds what? Let me see. Sorry about that. Let me get that. He holds my waist when we walk, but not in front of the kids like that. And everybody has different levels. Me personally, I say it's too much when you're making, I guess, your partner uncomfortable, or you're turning into a sex scene in front of, onlookers and putting on a voyeuristic type show. But like I said, who am I to tell somebody that is too much? Man, I love you much, all right, from my brother. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, K Dog. Much love to you too. You know, I think it's something that you should really be mindful of. Understanding the example that you set, especially if you have children. Kids are impressionable like that, opens the door to crazy stuff happening in the schools. True. That is a great point, just us. Because you want to model the behavior, and two, when your children are going out there, you want to be careful to know and let your children know that you could have your affection and do your thing, but you don't want anybody just grabbing and touching on you and pulling on you and poking you and doing things to you and not respecting your personal space. I think public displays of affection are cool, but it gets too much when, yeah, affection reflect leadership. True. Facts. Definitely facts. So you want to model the behavior if you care about these things. If you don't, I understand. You're not going to agree with me. You don't have to. But at the same time, remember, you know, we are the examples that we set in this world. I have nieces and nephews. I don't want to be in front of my nieces and nephews tonguing somebody down and doing all kind of freaky, nasty stuff in front of them. Now, what happens in private situations happens in private situations. That's why I think the public displays of affection can get out of hand because, you know, the reality is folks have room doors for a reason. Do not disturb signs was invented for a reason. Babysitters and stuff like that exist for a reason. Weekends away at your favorite hotel or favorite resort in the Poconos exist for a reason. But make sure the needed amount of attention is given in private. Yes. And I think that's what's not really addressed. But sometimes people want to give too much attention in private and not enough in public. So a lot of people have that. You have somebody who's all over you when ain't nobody looking. But then when it comes time for you to get down to the get down or just be seen in public, now all of a sudden you're giving folks a stiff arm. So it's like, what are you really about? That's what the late night creeps and all those other things that happen with that, one night stands. And I'm going to do a live stream on one night stands one of these days. Just not today. I have some thoughts on one night stands and why they happen. That'll be an interesting live stream if anybody catches that. Like I said, maybe you'll agree with me, maybe you won't. I don't expect everybody to agree. I'm just glad that anybody's watching, that, folks comment and giving their thoughts. Thank you, Just Us. Because, like I said, it's cool. I think learning a right amount of affection that you should give to your lover, significant other, side piece, whoever, right, is important. People have personal space, and I've been in relationships where, maybe you're a little too close, maybe you come off a little too thirsty. I've been there when I was younger, much younger, less smooth, less experienced. But you don't have to be the most experienced. Benji says, I had a one night stand. I was left there standing all night, never again. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. I like that. I definitely like that. But I'm going to talk about one night stands If been married for some years now, so I feel that it doesn't apply really right now. We know each other now. Yeah, no, if you know each other and you respect each other, hey, it's all good. But I still say no matter how long you've been together, it never hurts to ask if you feel like you're encroaching on somebody's personal space, or maybe you're doing something that makes a person feel uncomfortable. I think it's never too much to say to a person if the situation is reversed. They're doing something to make you feel uncomfortable. You're doing something to make them feel uncomfortable. Communication is key to any relationship, and is even key to public displays of affection. You know, you don't want somebody to feel like they're a plaything, a trophy, unless that's the type of relationship you have. You know, no, it doesn't. It doesn't hurt, but that's why communication is required. Yeah, communication is required. You know, because you could be in a relationship and you could do something 1,000 times, and the person doesn't say anything. Just because they don't say anything doesn't mean that they're okay with it. It may mean because you know what, I'm in a relationship with you. I've been dealing with this for so long, and there's so many other good qualities about you that I could overlook that. But you never know. It never hurts to ask. It never hurts to have a conversation. Never hurts. You know. Yeah, then it's one-sided. Definitely. You don't want a one-sided situation. You want a situation where, you ask a person, "Hey, baby, is this okay? I touched you this way, or I looked at you a certain way, or, I flipped you over another way, and, maybe that wasn't the appropriate thing. Let me know." No, it's just an honest relationship that at that point, giving me real or nothing. Exactly. I definitely agree. Benji says, these days communications consist of SMS. Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of communication consists of, electronic devices and, electronic apps and stuff like that, computer apps back and forth and FaceTime and stuff like that. And that's part of the age that we live in. That's not going to go anywhere. But it's being able to learn how to communicate at all. That's a part of it. You learn how to communicate. So when it comes to those situations, you're more adept to it. And I think a lot of people probably forgot how to communicate, and the younger generations may not have learned how to communicate. So what they may see as acceptable and okay may not even be okay to today's standards. Justice says relationships take work and communication. If you don't have that, it's garbage. Yes, I agree. There's a lot of garbage relationships out there, but people accept the mediocre sometimes because the reality is, you know what? You don't want to be alone. So me accepting, whatever this situation is something I do just out of circumstances. You saying why though? Well, it's like I said, people don't want to be alone. You know, um, you know, some people don't want to be alone because maybe they don't understand their worth, or maybe they feel like they can't get another person, and maybe they have to accept what a person is giving them. You know, they say get a pet. Yeah, yeah, you could get a pet, but that pet ain't gonna love you down like that other individual. In some cases, it is, but that's another live stream for somebody else. We're not gonna get into bestiality. Let that conversation go to the wayside. But the reality is, in certain relationships, oh boy, have a booty friend. Oh my God, people have a booty friend. They do have a booty friend, aka butt buddy. Wow. Well, oh man, yeah, I can see the conversation is going there. Booty friends and butt buddies and all that stuff. If you have to have that, then that's a different type of relationship. I mean, maybe some people, which is kind of funny, some people I've seen have more affection towards their butt buddy or their booty friend or whoever you want to call that than they do towards their main person. Don't go sleeping around just to get a single person. No strings. Um, yeah, like I said, that is what it is. That is what it is. I mean, people have their side situations. I know probably people heard about the Kevin Hart situation, him getting caught and doing the apology online to his wife and stuff like that. People step out. Then we got to talk about soul ties and feelings. Ooh, you want to go to soul ties and feelings? Somebody trying to go into deep water tonight. Soul ties and feelings. Yeah, I mean, I believe that you have people that are connected to the souls and stuff like that, and soulmates and stuff like that. And then you probably have people who are connected to the soul who shouldn't be together, but they have maybe an unhealthy connection, and feelings, as feelings relate to anything. I remember, my mother told me years ago, no matter what relationship you're in, once you start to take it into the realm of sex, everything changes, definitely does, you know. Wonder if people are ready for that change. If your butt buddy is a former partner, then no risk of adding soul ties. Well, you got to explain that one. No risk of adding soul ties. And for those that don't know out there, just explain what you mean about soul ties. Maybe folks may not understand what you're talking about soul ties. Whatever connection, may exist there, because everybody has different definitions. So for the sake of the conversation, just let us know what you mean. Because definitely you have different soul ties or different things that connect people in healthy and unhealthy ways. You know, different emotions and feelings that come. Maybe you develop some fatal attraction type of situation. For those that don't know what fatal attraction is, maybe too young. Sex is a form of unity, uniting the soul, unification. Yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. Well, I know there's a lot of people unify to a lot of folks they probably shouldn't. Soul ties happens when you have sex. Okay, so for the sake of the conversation of what you're talking about, soul ties, you know, um, you do get connected to the soul by the sexual contact, the interaction that you have with a person. And I do believe that is true, be it healthy or unhealthy. And then there's feelings and stuff like that involved. But if you want to go there, then we're talking about, wow, we're talking about somebody, if they have multiple partners, they're connected to multiple souls in various ways, in healthy and unhealthy relationships. And that definitely happens. That's a lot of work. You're spending a lot of money, time, energy, emotion in a situation. Me personally, not saying I'm a perfect man, not saying I got it all together, but I couldn't do the multiple partners thing because, just like I said, I don't have the energy like I used to have. I just don't have the time. Maybe because I'm broke too, but who knows? I mean, but realistically, I don't want to go around hurting, multiple people, playing games with a whole bunch of folks. But there's some folks out there that have it. They can catch a body count. Justice says if a soul is already previously tied to a night friend, then making them a night friend won't risk more soul tying like a new partner would. I disagree with that to an extent. I believe that even if you're not really in a soulmate with somebody, I believe that once you have a sexual interaction with somebody, that things do change. You do have that connection with a person, but maybe it's not the same as if you have a child with a person. I think it's more deep when you have multiple children with multiple people. Then it turns into a situation where it's like, oh wow, we're connected for life for real. And I know a couple of people out there who have, multiple children with multiple individuals, and yeah, they tied to this person, or persons, and there's nothing they could do, you know. So, that is that. But definitely, be careful who you jump out there with, even if you do have promiscuous relationships. But like I said, that's for another time with me getting into one night stands. Because I do have some theories or a theory on why one night stands happen, but I want to save that because that's a whole other conversation in itself, you know. But, this is really just about public displays of affection, how much is too much, when it's not enough. Justice says, yeah, but it's a mutual agreement that is just sex, then no risk. Get a pet if you don't need one. Hey, what's up, Lopez? I'm just talking about public displays of affection. When is too much, too much? When is not enough? When is it not enough? You know, what is an appropriate situation that you should be in or you feel like you shouldn't be in? Everybody has different guidelines for what they feel like is too much public displays of affection when it's not enough. One night, oh, okay, I don't understand what that message is. Yeah. But like I said, everybody has different things that they're comfortable with. Everybody has different levels of affection that are appropriate for them. In a religious context, some people may never show any public displays of affection, but privately, they do. One night stands can be dangerous. Yes, they can. They definitely can be dangerous. And one of the reasons why, I'll just touch on it, feelings can be developed. Yeah, well, for me personally, I'll say one night stands are dangerous, not because of the feelings part, because I know how I am. My thing is, you can look as good as you want. You can sound as good as you think you want to sound. Diseases. Exactly. You must have been reading my mind. Because, I mean, like I said, I could go into why I think they happen. Pregnancies, pregnancies from a one night standpoint, yeah, they happen, but the reality is without that, a lot of us probably wouldn't be here. Let's just be real and keep it a buck. A lot of us probably came here from one night stands. Not everybody. People in loving relationships and things like that. People were conceived in situations where folks wanted to be, but there were a lot of pregnancies from one night stands. And that's really what that is. But for the most part, I think the most dangerous thing about a one night stand is diseases. Not knowing where a person stands or where they come from, not knowing who they slept with. Because everybody feels like they know folks, and you have people in relationships sexually and nobody's showing anybody any status, their sexual status or whatever, whether they have any checkups or whatever. Yeah, people lie. Definitely people lie. So you have a situation where you can be with somebody and not know their status and think yeah, you get receipts, but getting receipts could stop something in a heartbeat. You can be in a situation where you're saying to a person, okay, I don't want to do this particular act with you until we have our status. So what do? You say, okay, break. We'll come back in 2 or 3 days and I have my status, you have your status. By that time, they done moved on and dealt with somebody else. Now they're in a situation where you're saying, okay, I missed out. So with the one night stand, there's that pressure to forego the safety effort. Yeah, you could be a blunt person, but the thing is, you may have that confidence to say that. And some people don't have the confidence to say that, be it male or female. Maybe somebody who hasn't dealt with that situation in a while. Yeah, I'm rolling to the doctor's app. Yeah, you could go to the app, but is the app going to give you a result on a spot of a test? Or are you going to go in there with a swab, a HIV test, and say, here, look, this is it? Or go get you a STD, a STI test? We getting checked at the same time. Yeah, you can go get checked at the same time, but there's some people that put pressure on each other and say, look, I don't want to do that. You say, yeah, you say $80, but there's some people who are mature enough, who are sophisticated enough to do that. One night stands a lot of times lack a lot of sophistication. I mean, unless you Darian Gray, or was it Darian Gray? I forget this guy's name from 50 Shades of Grey. I don't know. I can't do one night stands. I just feel like it's just trouble. Yeah, nah, it's not for everybody. I say, look, if you're not about that life, don't put yourself out there. Well, wow. You say you and your husband did it. Okay. Sometimes it works out like that, but that the numbers are not always high when it comes to that particular situation. Sometimes the odds work in your favor. May they ever be in your favor, you know? But at the same time, it's not for everybody. We both went together for peace of mind before okay, I get you. But then, can you really call that a one night stand if you went together to go and I don't know if you're talking about the one night stand or if you're talking about getting tested. If you're talking about getting tested, hopefully that's what you're talking about because it sounded like you were saying that you and her had a one night stand together. So you said, yeah, I got tested together. Well, if you're willing to go get tested with your partner before you have sex, then you're in a definite minority. Okay, getting tested. You were talking about just us getting tested. Okay, so then cool. I just wanted to clarify that. I think definitely anybody before you have, sexual relations with somebody, be it you gay, you straight, transgender, otherwise, you definitely should get tested. But the reality is sometimes people, even not in a one night stand situation, they're in such a hurry, such a rush, such a infatuation with a person that they're saying, you know what, I'm going to jump into a relationship or jump into this situation with a person. You know, I don't fool with one night my man, even before I was married. Nah, listen, I don't judge anybody if they do one night stands. If they don't do one night stands, I don't judge you. I say to each his own. But my thing is, if you're gonna go out there and do a one night stand or deal with somebody or have multiple partners or whatever you're gonna do, I tell people to get tested. Definitely get tested. Because regardless of how you feel about a person, regardless of how nice a person may seem, the reality is, people lie. Right? To each his own. Yeah, to each his own. Who am I to judge? You know, I'm not gonna say if some fine young thing walked in here right now that I wouldn't be tempted. Yeah, but it's still dangerous. Definitely. I tell people to be aware of the dangers. I mean, it can be dangerous to be in a relationship with somebody and not know the other person's status because you'll have people who are in relationships, committed relationships, and the other person is stepping out on them and they don't know the status. Nobody's thought to say, let's get tested together. Then it's 6 months down the line or a year down the line and you caught some kind of disease or some funny situation that went down. Trying to figure out who the baby daddy is or who the baby mother is or whatever. Maybe not the baby mother, but you get the point. So, there's a certain level of honesty that you want to have, a certain level of clarity. You know, I think it really comes down to what type of person are you? What type of relationship you want to have, with a person. And sometimes we settle. A lot of times we settle in relationships. I'm no different. But how can we teach this to the youth? Well, we teach it to the youth. The funny thing is, one of my first jobs, most people may not know this about me. I was actually a peer educator, and the funny thing is, they got a cuffing game now. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's cuffing season. To me personally, after the summer is over, I call it cuffing season. Once that weather drop, all of a sudden, for those that don't know, cuffing, like basically, you all over your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. But I think how we teach it to the youth, since I used to be a peer educator, which was funny, I was a peer educator at 15, trying to teach 18 and 19-year-olds about sex, not knowing all that much myself. But from what I've learned as a peer educator back in the days and even stuff that I subsequently learned, one of the first things that you want to teach the youth is about diseases. And even when I was in the military, I learned about different diseases and stuff like that. They taught us different stuff. So you want to give sex education. You want to make sure sex education is a key. You want to let the youth know that, there's pitfalls. There are consequences to just jumping in and out of relationships or in and out of the bed with people unprotected or without knowing their status. That's a big deal because nobody wants to catch that monster, that Batman Forever, that HIV virus or the AIDS. Yeah, cuffing is trying to get a girl pregnant so that she will stay with you. Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. And then the other side is the same thing with, vice versa, woman trying to get pregnant. That's one form of cuffing. Another form of cuffing, I believe, or what I know is just basically being overprotective or trying to keep, somebody away from your significant other. But they're definitely different forms. It's all crazy. Yes, it is. But to answer your question, just us, teaching the youth is about modeling the behavior, but also teaching them the consequences of their actions. I'm not telling folks, you got to go out there and be, celibate or, You got to go out there and be faithful to everybody, any and everybody. But I tell you, don't trust every smile and pretty face that you come across. Sometimes it could be that one time when you go out there and have sex or intercourse in any type of way with that one individual, and that first time, because you wasn't aware or nobody taught you, now you catch a disease. I thank God that I haven't caught a disease, and I mean that regardless of how anybody feel. I've been knock on wood, pray to the sky, say what I have to say. Thank you, Jesus, for real. You know, but in some communities, it is praised so that they can get food stamps and low income housing. Wow. Oh, you going there? Well, it is praised in some communities, but from what I know, being connected to different communities and whatnot, it is discouraged as the generations go on. There are people that still do it, but even the government doesn't subsidize you just wanting to have babies and be taken care of by, the taxpayers. To me, that's not a move. I don't support that at all. I look at it and I say, you know what? You need to go up and get your behind a job. You need to go in and raise these babies right. Pay for a babysitter. You need to go out there and find a relative to help you out, or go take those baby daddies or whoever they are to court. Because we the taxpayers don't need to be paying for the fact that you can't control who you having sex with. And that's just my opinion. I'm not saying it's the ultimate truth, but it is what it is. I sit and talk to high school girls, pregnant girls, and this is what I hear. I'm not saying it's not out there. It's just not as common as it used to be, especially coming from somebody who was in generations where I used to have the government cheese and the government food across the street from me. I mean, anybody that's born in the 80s or the 70s know what a government block of cheese looks like. Nah, it has gotten better. Yeah, it has gotten better, but does it still happen? Yes, it still happens. People still take advantage and game the system and whatnot. People still try to find other folks' babies to claim, but I don't want to get too deep into all that. I said somebody come looking for me. But the reality is, you want to educate the youth. You can only educate the youth to those that want to listen to it, that want to hear it. You don't force anything on anybody because, sometimes people don't want to listen until something happens. I'm no different. You're no different. But I say when it comes to the youth, you want to try to give them a better advantage than the ones that we had, coming up. You want each generation to be better than what the last one was. And it comes to sex education, in order to educate others, we must be educated. Yes. Also, you want to be educated on the different diseases out there, the different contraceptives to use, just the different forms of how you model yourself in a relationship. Like I said, people have arrangements and things that they do. Like I said, to each his own. But you want to be safe. You want to be protected. You want to know where you can go get tested. You want to know where you can go get treated just in case you catch something. You don't want to be in a situation where you're out there having unprotected sex or doing promiscuous things and there's no place for you to go to get counseling, to get help, to get contraceptives, to just have a talk with somebody, to just, sometimes share your thoughts. And there are places out there like that, because the place I used to get down with, actually we worked with, was Project Reach Youth. I was down with it. I don't even know if the place is still around, but I'm aware that there are places like that. You got the Planned Parenthood and stuff like that. You have places like that, even though people don't agree with it because of the whole abortion thing and, all that. And I know abortion is a touchy subject, but definitely, yeah, I'm reconnected. I'm back. Justice says they should have kept simulated baby class in high school to give them a slight experience. Yes, I believe they should have kept it. But we go into a political issue. For religious reasons, some people felt like it should be taken out. For, politically correct reasons, some people felt like, there was people, too much government oversight over their kids. The government or the school system shouldn't be telling kids, who and where and what to be. And for some reason, I don't know, for whatever reason, only God knows. Yeah. Let's not touch on that. And for some reason, people are still teaching abstinence as a way of sex education. we could definitely go deep with that. I say, look, you have people who are unrealistic. These kids are gonna go out there, they're gonna have sex, they're gonna do things, they're gonna experience life. So the thing is not to judge them when they make mistakes. It's not to judge anybody when they make mistakes. You try to teach them, you teach the lesson, and you move on. Like I tell people close to me, you try to teach the lesson, give the information, tell them the stories, let them experience certain stuff, and you move on. You try to be there. It's like you give the olive branch, you extend the olive branch. Even if they slap it down, you say, you know what? It's still here. Just in case you want to come back to that particular situation. You know? I mean, folks don't have to be judged because we all make mistakes. I've made mistakes. I've done things. I've had errors in judgment. I've had situations that, you know what? Maybe I should have been more careful than what I was. You know, like I said, I'm grateful, you know, that certain things didn't go left as far as they could have went. But I think, yeah, a lot of youth are not being taught, you know, and this is something that perpetuates a cycle. You know, generational curses pass on and on. Justice says I could write a book on my frowned upon decisions. Yeah, we all probably could write a book. Listen, I probably, if anybody knows me, I've written so many poems on some of my crazy decisions. You know, but the reality is we take our stories, we take our experiences, and we try to relate them in a positive, realistic way towards the youth. You know, not to corrupt them. But I'm grateful for my lessons. Yeah, but sometimes I think those lessons are not passed on to the youth. You know, you have people who are afraid to just be honest. Be honest with the youth. You know, be honest. You know, they ask you a question, they want to know something. Don't be afraid to answer them. Don't be ashamed of your past. Tell them, because if you have something that you've done in your past, guess what? You can save that youngster or adolescent, teen, or whoever from going through the same mistakes. It's like Jay-Z said in the rap. He said, you know, Hove went through that. I went through that so you didn't have to go through that. You know, like I said, you know, so I mean, we go through these things and we pass the lessons on, and we hope that the kids listen so they don't have to go through what we went through. Just some are scared. They even try to silence us. Parents want to fight because you want to try to help their kids. True, true. And that is a sad situation too. Sometimes you want to help the youth, and there's parents that don't want them to know about those particular things. But when you keep the kids blind, when you keep them away from real life, it cripples them. It puts them in a situation where now they're growing up in a bubble. They never experienced life. They don't know what's going on. And then when something happens, now you're trying to scramble and run and figure out what you want to do and where you want to go and how life is supposed to really be. You know, and it's like, look, sometimes it's too late after the fact. It's like I was watching this nature show, and the guy was talking about preparing for a storm. He's saying when the storm comes, there's no secrets to survival. You know, there's only getting through it. You know, so you want to try to prepare before the storm. You want to try to prepare before these problems and issues come. That's why there's different preventative measures, different things that you can do, different places you can go, different people that you could probably be counseled from. Sometimes in a religious context, sometimes not, because everybody's not religious. Everybody doesn't go for that. Everybody doesn't care about that. But regardless whether you're religious or not, you should be safe. You should be protected. You should know contraceptives. You should know places to go. You should have people you can confide in, trust, and talk to. If you don't, find them. Justice says that's how I feel about parents who try to do everything for their kids instead of letting them experience the fight. Yeah. I mean, you could try to shelter your kid as much as you want, but at the same time, you're not preparing them for real life. I'm glad that regardless of how my parents raised me, Justice says make them work for success. Yes. Regardless of how my parents raised me, whether it was all good or not good, I had to earn and learn the value of a dollar. I had to learn how to experience and carry myself. My father always told me, he says, when you step out that house, you don't just represent yourself. You represent me. You represent your mother. You represent this family, regardless of, you know, who you think you are, where you think you come from. And many times, kids are not taught that. But be there for a little boost if needed. Yeah, you be there for boost. You be there to encourage. You definitely teach your children things, you know, but you don't try to put them in a situation where they can't live. Yeah, but don't be the crutch. And I think a lot of parents wind up being the crutch. We live in this politically correct, overly sensitive society now. And anybody feels some type of way about that, you know where I'm at. But the reality is we live in a society where folks may be a little bit too sensitive, maybe a little bit too politically correct, maybe a little too sheltered, maybe a little too closed off, a little too isolated, to the point where people don't know how to communicate. People don't know how to show proper affection. People don't know how to protect themselves, even if you want to go out there and be promiscuous. So what are we doing? And this is not to be preachy at anybody. This is not to say, you know what, this is the way I say to do it. No, I don't have all the answers and I don't pretend to be. Justice says, then why, when the kids hit the real world, they don't know from, yeah, you're right. Nah, people have it where, you know what, you get sheltered. You're not taught the reality of what's going on in this life, and you get shell shocked. You get rocked. You know what I'm saying? And I tell people, for your kids, if you love your kids, let your kids see life. It's like the song, like this old song goes from I think it's the Treacherous Five or something like that. So let me tell you about life and about the way it is. But I think there's too many kids that don't know. Parents just provide, they don't raise nowadays. Well, I'll say this, I'll go a step further. You have parents that maybe just provide, or parents that just raise their kids but don't teach their kids. If you have children, like I said, I don't have children, and I know people are going to say, oh, how could you tell anybody you don't have children? I was a child once. I had nieces and nephews. I done looked out for other children. I dated women that had children. I can say this. Too many people are not being taught. That's adults, that's children, adolescents, whatever you want to say. Too many kids out there are just being raised or just being provided for and not taught. Some kids don't know how to tie the shoes or tie a tie. Some kids don't know how to, know how to drive, properly or whatever. Or, people don't know how to, put on a proper suit. Maybe they don't know how to pay the taxes, or some people don't know how to get a bank account. And these are kids coming up, and you say to yourself, wow, so you don't even know how to save money, but you wouldn't tell me about how grown you are. You want to talk to me about, what you should get and what you're entitled to. And don't get me wrong, the next generation should do things. Justice says, then everybody crying and want to kill themselves, and folks wonder why. Well, the suicide is nothing to take lightly. It is a big thing. Yeah, you can say they can't handle it, but I think those coping skills are not given to them. And it's like somebody said to me, you definitely can't blame the kids, because, you look at the parents and you say to yourself, okay, so where was the parents? But then somebody asks, yeah, it is a big thing. But then it happens is, who's teaching the parents? If the parents came from a broken home and they didn't understand how to cope, and they had these issues and they kind of just fought through it and just ignored it, how are they to teach the kid how to cope with something that they just kind of got through by, the seat of their pants or whim or luck or whatever it is, not knowing how they survived it? So, yeah, generational curses. I do definitely believe in generational curses, just traditions or habits that go down. And, sometimes it's left to 4 and 5 generations on to break these generational curses. So, that definitely does come about. So you have to ask yourself the question, who you want to be as a person? What type of family do you want to raise? What type of behavior do you want to model? Like I said, that's real deep, maybe a little too deeper than I expected it to go. But like I said, there's these things that happen, there's these things that go on. And in society, sometimes folks don't want to hear nothing. It's like one of my homeboys, Young Realness, says, everybody wants to be right, nobody wants to be wrong. Everybody wants to be heard, everybody wants to be right. Nobody wants to be told they're wrong, and people will fight to the death. Justice says, indeed, it's been a pleasure, but I gotta go. Thanks for chatting with me. Definitely. I think I'm about to wrap this up myself. I probably chatted a lot longer than I wanted to. People looking back at this is gonna probably say, well, Mel, he was going in. Yeah, I talked about a lot more than I probably wanted to, but that's where these live streams go, these chats. So like I said, I'm grateful to the 6 people that gave me the thumbs up. I'm grateful to the people that watch, to those that stayed with me to the end, to the folks that silently watched and didn't say anything. I know you out there. I see every one of you. My supporters, fans, haters alike. Mel Mel loves you, and I know you love Mel Mel. You know, excuse me. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else to add? I think this is the first time I went over an hour in my live stream. Actually, to tell you the truth, like I said, hopefully it just was just an engaging conversation. Hopefully you got something out of this. Whether you agreed or disagreed. Maybe we can have just a civil discourse and anything. Because I definitely went in a lot of places in this live stream that I didn't expect to go. But that's all. That's all good. That's all cool. Yeah. And on that note, like I said, peace and love. Much respect to you. Hopefully everybody has a great week. Yeah. And as I vibe out, you can go off into the midnight somewhere and probably get something to eat. I say take care. I know you love Mel Mel, and Mel Mel loves you.